Worked at Atlanta Life.
Oh, yeah. I worked at Atlanta Life for over 46 years. I started with the company in 1963, and it was a very exciting place to work for. Um, it was during the era of the student movement, civil rights movement was vital, and a lot was going on. Um, I was fortunate enough able to work with Jesse Hill, who was the president, and knowing that I was an activist, so to speak, and was involved in marching and the whole bit around this country with SCLC and other organizations. Worked hard with the NAACP too. He kind of embraced me into doing things to help him. Like he coordinated Maynard Jackson's campaign when Maynard ran for mayor, and I worked very diligently with him with that. I worked with he and Leroy Johnson when they brought the big fight to Atlanta with Muhammad Ali. Um, and of course, Mr. Hill was involved in the movement totally. I remember when the students were marching and they had signs that were really kind of shaggy. And Mr. Herndon, who was the owner of the company and the founder's son, saw those signs and said, no, we got to do better than that, get our department to print those signs, give them a professional look. And so to make a long story short, I worked directly with Jesse Hill in just about everything. And it was just an exciting, very exciting time. When the students were marching around the country and Atlanta Life was actively involved with helping to finance a lot of that, and a lot of it came through my office, that it was just, I can go on and on. It was just a very exciting time to be alive. And not to mention how Atlanta Life would be sponsors for a lot of the events. When Jesse Hill worked with chairman of the board of the King Center, I was on the board, on the advisory board with the King Center, and it was just a time full of excitement. It was just something going on all the time. I'd rather you ask me questions than have me keep running talk.
Okay, well, let's talk about Donald Lee Hollowell.
Well, I can't say that much about Donald Hollowell that's not already known. I know that he was a great, great person, and so was his wife. I know that he was a civil rights warrior, civil rights lawyer, and he was there to support just about everybody when it came to fighting for justice and equality with African Americans. And that's about all I could say about him. I just know he was a great man and very likable and there if you needed him.
And let's talk about the march that you participated in.
Oh, well, as I said, Atlanta Life participated in working with Jesse Hill. He got involved in just about everything that was going on. And that he asked for Atlanta Life to have some of their employees to help out with the March Around Riches. And at that time, a lot of the kids had more vibrant and more energy than the people, the employees. And although a lot of them were very young, I was only 21, right out of school. And of course, I was one of them who said yes. And I organized kids to younger people to get together, and we marched around Richardstown. I wasn't arrested then, but when we marched around the post office, it was really scary. They arrested us for marching the post office. I had a cousin that was very, very fast. She looked white, and they arrested her because they thought she was a white girl, and was asking why was she marching with those niggas. And she said, that's my cousin right there. I can't leave my cousin. And that's when they realized she was really a white, was not white. But they arrested us, took us downtown, and by the time they fingerprinted us and put us in a cell, they were coming back to get us. And I was like, praise the Lord, because it was fun while they were doing it. But, when you're young, you don't realize how dangerous things could be. And after being in there over an hour, that's when we got scared and realized, wait a minute, this can be serious. But that was one that I would not forget.
Oh, let's talk about the Heart of Atlanta Motel and Pickricks.
Well, I wasn't involved in that, but I know that totally Atlanta was embarrassed. It was a disgrace that we had a man who was a former governor. And I don't know whether I don't think he was governor at that time. He was former governor who got axe handles and passed them out to hit people if they came to his restaurant. And I was not one of the few who integrated his restaurant, but there were many times people attempted to go in his restaurant, and he had axe handles, really axe handles, out there to hit people. Now they say the N word. Well, it was nothing for them to say nigger then. Nigger, nigger, nigger. And he was openly saying that he wasn't going to let any niggers come in his restaurant. But that just went on and on and on till it finally just ran out. But it was very embarrassing as I travel around the country and go to other places, and they said, "Oh, you're from Georgia, that Red Hills of Georgia, where the governor has axe hounds to keep black people out of his restaurant." It was nothing fancy about his restaurant. He just sold fried chicken like everybody else, and was nothing out of ordinary. But he had a hate for black people, and he did everything in his power to degrade them and call them all kind of names. And I never forget. I guess that's why I flinch sometimes when we integrate interracial marriages, because they continue to say our black men wanted their white women. And he would say all the time, these old black men want to get with our pretty little white women, and they weren't going to have it. And that would just turn me off. But that was an embarrassing time for Georgia when we were trying to reshape the city and trying to look forward and focus on other things. Then the focus was on him and the racism that he deplored, and passing out axe hounds just to keep blacks out of his restaurant was very embarrassing. And I think it became embarrassing to the whites as well.
And you and I were talking about the fact that the laws had been passed, but they just refused.
Oh yeah, they had passed the laws that it was against the law to segregate. But, you know, you can pass a law you want to. It's like we have rules and regulations right now that people ignore, that they don't believe it. Look what they're doing to health care. You know, and look right here in the state of Georgia, where we have the governor refused to accept health care, and it's been passed by the government. But yes, there were laws that said certainly segregation was illegal. For you, people could eat anywhere they want to. You couldn't operate a store, a restaurant, or anything without patronage. But they ignored it. So that's what the fight is all about, and the fight is still on. That we have to stand up and fight against people who are going to fight against us. Look what Congress is doing right now with the black president. I mean, doing everything in their power to ignore and to kill laws and not agree. But if we stand and take it, then that's what we deserve. So that's the way it is. We got to continue to fight.
We got to use that sound bite in the teaser video. Yes. Okay. You got me ready to go fight now.